right. Hello, everybody. My name is Ami, and this will hopefully be the start of a brand new series that I'm calling Med Moments. It's going to be kind of like a chronicling of my journey through medicine as a current pre-med student. And yeah, so we'll just kind of see where this goes. I'm just going to kind of yap for a little bit, and hopefully it'll turn out into something. So I guess I want to talk about like how I've gotten to where I am now, like a very brief recap. So just taking a little look back into the past, I guess my pre-med journey kind of started when I first decided that what I wanted to do in college. And I want a quick disclaimer. I want to make it very clear that the intention of this video and this series is not to brag at all. Whenever I'm going to be listing a lot of accomplishments, along with a lot of failings and a lot of lessons learned. And through the journey that I've had already and looking online, I'm very, very much a fan of the medical space on YouTube, and I'm constantly looking for more medical influencers to follow, to learn from, and such. And there is a strong lack of like pre-meds. I wanted a person that I could look to for an example of just what to do, because there's so much information, but none of it is gathered in one spot. And so hopefully by making this series, I can avoid as much as possible trying to sound like I'm bragging and mainly focus on my true intention, which is providing not the example, but a example of how one can go through their pre-med journey, I guess. The journey started probably in my junior year. So that's a little confusion I want to get out of the way quickly. I graduated a year early with my with my AA. So my high school had a dual enrollment program where you were able to get college credits while going to high school. I was not a big fan of high school, and so I got as many credits as I could. I wanted as much free college as I could. And so I would say my sophomore year, I'd been taking AP classes, which you could do a whole hour on AP versus dual enrollment. The short synopsis is that I think AP has value in that it challenges you and puts you in a class with coursework that is probably, honestly, especially depending on the class, way harder than anything you will have in college. But I think that's kind of where the value ends. There is, unless you don't have a dual enrollment program at your school and you only have an AP, if you only have AP is 100% worth it, you should do it. It's just like in many regards, objectively worse than dual enrollment. So if you're not in the pre-med stage, if you're still in the high schooler stage, dual enrollment. Your journey is going to be so long. Make it, if there's any way to make it shorter, I highly suggest doing it. And so kind of, let me go into the timeline real quick. So my journey, as soon as you graduate from high school, if you don't know anything about becoming a doctor and everything, as soon as you graduate high school, assuming you don't take a gap year, you will have to get your bachelor's. So that's 4 years for your bachelor's. Then, assuming you don't take a gap year between your bachelor's and medical school, you will go to medical school for 4 years. There's some 3-year universities, but the vast majority are 4 years. Sorry, 3-year med schools. But the vast majority are 4-year. And after that, you will have to do a residency, which ranges from like 3 for family medicine in certain programs to, I think there's like 7 is the longest residency. And then after your residency, you've specialized. Then after you've specialized, you can further specialize into a fellowship, which can usually be like 1 to 2 years. They're usually not as long as the rest of the process, but you can see you can make the process a very, very long time. Things have changed a little bit, but I still mostly want to be a family doctor. So after finishing high school, I would need to get my bachelor's. Then I would need to go to medical school for 4 years. Then I would need to do 3 years, typically, of a family medicine residency. And then I would be a doctor. So 4, 4, 3. So 11 years altogether. Since my school was able to provide me with a dual enrollment program, and since I was able to take advantage of it, I was able to shave 2 years off of my bachelor's, getting my AA before I went to college, which I think is probably one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. It was not easy. I will also say that it's not as hard as I think so many people think it is. It was possible. You just have to know how to do it, and you got to really advocate. One of the best things you can do to just help yourself out later is get that AA done, or at the very least, get some of your dual enrollment credits done. Now, I live in Florida, so this is Florida rules. The reason why I highly suggest getting your whole AA done versus just getting a couple of college credits out of the way is universities historically don't love transfer credits. So a transfer credit is any credit at another university or accredited like college that you're trying to basically cash in for credits at that university. Historically, most universities don't like it when you don't spend money on their school. So they will deny a lot of your credits and say, no, you need to take these classes from us. In Florida, I don't know if this is how it works everywhere. If you get your AA, they can't deny any of your AA. So if you have your AA, you're automatically a junior. If you don't have your AA, so in Florida, AA, and I'm pretty sure everywhere, is 60 credits. If you have 57 credits and you try to transfer into a school, they can deny any amount of those credits that they want. It's up to the school. They have their rules. You can find most of them, but it can be kind of hard to find each school's specific rules, especially if you're applying to like 20 schools and you're like, I don't even have the time to. But if you have your AA, they can't do that. They just have to take it at face value to say, this guy's got his AA, so he's done with the first 2 years of school, which is great. Setting yourself up to a great start. So getting that out of the way in high school, I shaved 2 years off my journey. So my 11-year journey to become a family doc went down to 9. That's huge. I was 18 when I graduated high school. No, I wasn't. I was 17 when I graduated high school. Jeez, it's a long time ago. To me, getting my AA in high school was the difference between me becoming a doctor when I am 28. All goes well. I don't have to take any gap years or anything. I don't have to work to pay for school. Just pure straight school for 11 years. Difference between graduating and becoming a doctor when I'm 28 to me being a doctor when I'm 26. That's a huge difference already. And it was a lot of work. I'm not going to say it was a lot of work. There was a time where I was taking about 7, 8 classes. So I was taking online classes on top of high school classes. But that's different because I was also trying to graduate a year early. So actually I shaved 3 years off, which I really didn't like high school. So that was personally for me. I don't know if I'd recommend that for everybody, because getting your dual enroll, like getting your AA, I think is honestly very doable. You do have to set up a lot of time. It is a big time commitment. But considering how much time you get back, the return on investment's insane. Orders of magnitude more than you put in. Graduating a year early has a lot of downsides if you like, and the cons I feel like the cons outweigh the pros. if you really like high school. Also, if you don't want to like grow up too fast, I totally understand that perspective too. That's just not me. Um, I would not, I would definitely not suggest graduating a year early from high school. The reason why graduating a year early from high school is different than graduating with your AA is that graduating with your AA doesn't make you go to college faster. It doesn't really make you grow up faster at all. It just makes the grown up part of going to college, I think, better because you don't have to do all the crappy classes that you don't even want to do. You've already done those. You get to go straight into your major courses. College can actually be like the whimsical dream that you always thought it would be of like, I'm learning what I want to learn, that kind of thing, versus like public speaking and like sociology. Sociology classes are great, but come on, public speaking. One of the worst classes I ever took. But yeah, they even do it online now. That's kind of my thoughts on high school, what you should do in high school. Other than that, volunteering hours don't carry over, clinical hours don't carry over, shadowing doesn't carry over. Really, you don't got to do anything else except get a good GPA, get a good SAT score. Don't do drugs, I guess. Just like don't be an idiot. And quick sidebar about community college, the program, my high school was connected with a community college in my county. And I just want to say that community college is great. Was great for me. Probably not great for everybody. If you want like the college experience, community college is not that. Community college is, you just, at least at the community college I went to, you show up for class, you leave class, you take the exams, that's it. There's no like college life. Might be different at different campuses. The big benefit is it's so cheap. Dual enrollment, it's free. But in general, the community college I went to, if I would have gone not dual enrolled, was about half what I pay a semester at my school currently. And my school is very affordable. So community college is great. Don't feel like you have to go to university for 4 years. I get it if you want the college experience. I'm a very financially motivated person. And for me, spending the extra, like having the extra money in student debts just wasn't worth. Also, I was already dual enrolled. So another consideration. Highly recommend community college. If you can't dual enroll first. Oh, one last thing about AP and dual enrollment. The reason why dual enrollment is objectively better than AP, the classes are shorter. You don't have to pass one massive exam at the end of the semester. You just have to pass the class. They're honestly usually way easier. They were easier at my community college. The AP classes at my high school were crazy. I didn't even take the hard ones. I didn't even take like AP Chem, AP Phys. I didn't do any of that. I took like AP Psych, AP World History, AP Human Geography, and they were still hard. They were harder than most college classes I've taken. So, knowing that you're becoming a doctor, you have to also know that you have chosen one of the most expensive schooling tracks there is. Now, there is a lot of return on investment, especially if you practice for a very long time. You will make orders of magnitude more money than you ever spent on school. That being said, it's very large upfront cost. You don't want to look up the numbers. Maybe you should. Case by case basis. There's already a lot of things pushing people away from medicine. I don't want to do that. So if you feel like you can handle it, look at it. What I will say is any way that you can get free school, DE, AP. So speaking on scholarships, please study for your SAT. Like, study like a lot. Like, dedicate a lot of time. Because when I tell you, one thing that we will go over is the hardest thing that I've had to do so far for my pre-med journey is taking the MCAT, which I'm probably going to have to make a whole video about taking the MCAT because I have a lot of thoughts and a lot to say, And it was a very long process. It wasn't a straight line. The SAT will teach you a lot of things that you will use for your MCAT. Standardized tests, different exams are different. There's a lot of things that connect all of them, and a lot of the core tenets you will be able to use for all of them. If you want to become a doctor, you have to get really good at taking exams. You don't have to, but it will help a lot. It will help so much. I cannot emphasize that enough. Get your test taking skills, and that's just a general college thing, but especially if you want to be a doctor. You don't have to get a tutor. You don't have to spend a crazy amount of money. What I did is, and what worked for me, and I loved it. First off, if you want to go completely free, there are so many good resources. Reddit. Just look up past SAT exams, SAT practice resources. Reddit is a gold mine. Don't look at the posts that say, I got a perfect 1600 and I only studied 2 weeks. I got a 1550, I didn't even study at all. That's not what Reddit's for. There's a lot of that on Reddit. Avoid that. Go straight to the beautiful people on r/SAT that have compiled every free resource, all the highest quality, highest yield things that you could possibly think of already, and have done all the hard work for you. No matter how much time you put into the exam, that time is well spent. There are diminishing returns, and that is a theme that I feel like will come up a lot in this series. There is a time where where putting in more time won't yield better results. I don't really feel that way with these kinds of exams. Unless you're right up next to your exam. Crash studying does not work for standardized tests. You might be able to get away with it in your college classes, but not for standardized exams. I really think that you can't spend enough time studying for SAT within a time frame. You shouldn't spend months studying for SAT. I don't think it's an exam I don't even think that's an effective way to study, because honestly, if you study for months, but 6 months a year for the SAT, you're going to forget what you learned at the beginning. It's just not efficient. What I did, and what worked for me, I took it twice. But the time that I really went for it, I did a solid month, where that was pretty much all I did. Just dedicate as much time as you can. That month that I spent studying for that exam has saved me tens of thousands of dollars. And I am not lying when I say that. That time, if you did it by hour, I'm not even gonna spend the time to calculate it, but you can imagine. The month, what did I maybe study for 200 hours? Tens of thousands of dollars. That extra 50 points on your SAT could mean the difference between a couple $1,000 scholarship to a full ride. You could even get paid. And I will say that thanks to that month, I do get paid to go to my school. And that can be you. It can be anyone. You just gotta put in the work. But also putting in the work's not enough. You gotta put in the work with the right tools. That's where r/Reddit comes in, or r/SAT comes in. Princeton Review, I really liked. There's a lot. It's like a $30 book. And honestly, you could just study from that. If that's all you wanted to do, that book had enough stuff, I think, for at least the first 100 hours that I was studying for. And then supplement with the free stuff that's already on Reddit, you're golden. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. I did my little preaching about the SAT. I didn't take the ACT, so I can't speak to that. I'm sure it's similar. I will say some colleges make it pretty clear where their scholarship cutoffs are. So where I go, they were pretty clear about if you hit this specific GPA and you have this specific SAT, you can get this amount of scholarship money based on merits. So I think that's just gonna be it for this one.